Hi guys, good to see you again. In this video, as I had informed earlier, I am going to discuss with you big grammar items in English like direct and indirect speech, degrees of comparison, transformation of sentences, active and passive voice, and so on. So therefore, it must be clear in your mind in order to understand these grammar items. You must be very alert and attentive. So please don't skip the videos. If you skip the videos, you may not have the connection, or you may not have the clear understanding of what was being discussed here. So don't skip it. Watch until the last information that is given to you through this video, so that you will have a clear understanding. Now, to begin with, today I thought it is better that I begin with the direct and indirect speech. Indirect speech, in other words, it is known as reported speech. Before we understand what is direct or reported speech, it is better that we understand what are the different types of sentences in English. Now, there are different types of sentences in English. Now, why do I say that before we begin to learn about direct and reported speech sentences? Because when we study about direct or reported speech sentences, what do we actually change from direct to indirect or indirect to direct? So actually one of these types of sentences we change. So therefore it is better for us to have a clear understanding about the types of sentences in English. So let us discuss in this video one sentence after the other with examples, so that it will be easy for you to understand it better. In the next video, about the direct and reported speech sentences and how we are going to change from one to the other. Okay, now types of sentences in English. Now there are 4 types of sentences in English, as I said, and the first type of sentence is known as the declarative sentence. Alright, so it is known as the declarative sentence. Now these declarative sentences can be named as statement, assertive, affirmative, So these names are given to the same sentence, but when the sentence is going to be negative, a statement could be negative also. But of course, negative sentence comes under the statement or declarative sentence when you have the negative understanding. So all these names are given to one particular type of sentence where we can understand easily without confusing yourself. So hereafter, when you look at the different names, whether it is declarative or statement or assertive or affirmative, all these sentences are known as any one of these names, by any one of these names. Okay? Now what is a declarative sentence? Usually we know in English, sentence is a group of words in which you have number of words written together in order to convey a complete meaning. But in declarative sentence, a sentence begins with the subject immediately, followed by verb and then the object, and the meaning is complete. And you will have the full stop at the end. See, a declarative sentence will end with a full stop. Now let me write an example here. Now what do I do now, or what am I doing now? I am teaching I am teaching types of sentences. I am teaching types of sentences. See, when I say I am teaching types of sentences, there you have the subject, and you have the verb, and you have the object, and you have the full stop there finally. So, a declarative sentence will have one subject, at least one subject, one verb, and one object, and the meaning will be complete. So you can easily understand a declarative sentence will end with the full stop. Alright, it can be an affirmative or assertive. Now why does the sentence is called with different names? Because it conveys a meaning that is complete. Conveys a meaning that is complete. See, when you say I am teaching types of sentences, I am teaching types of sentences, and you are listening or you are learning types of sentences. See, you are learning types of sentences. Here you have the subject, you are learning verb, types of sentence again, object. So this is a declarative sentence. It can be named as statement, it can be named as affirmative, it can be named as assertive. Now this is in positive style. When it is negative style, the same sentence can be written with the negative sense also. So when I say I am not teaching, see, I am not teaching. I am not teaching types of sentences. Or you are not learning types of sentences, it could be negative. But make sure that it is also a statement or an affirmative or declarative sentence. Is that clear? Okay, so that's it. That's a simple way to understand what a declarative sentence is all about. So remember, a declarative sentence will have a subject, main verb, and an object, and the meaning will be complete, and the declarative or a statement will end with a full stop. That easily you can understand. Okay? Now we move on to the next type. Now second type of sentence in English is known as the interrogative sentence. Second type of sentence in English is known as the interrogative sentence. Now when I say interrogative, immediately your mind should go to what? The question mark. See? That should come to your mind. Interrogation. When you hear the word interrogation, immediately your mind should think of a question mark there. Now interrogative sentences will end with a question mark. Now why do I say interrogative sentences? Because there are two types again in interrogative sentence. Now see, now let me write a sentence. What am I teaching? What am I teaching? Are you learning? Are you learning types of sentences? Are you learning about types of sentences? We call it. See? Now I have written two sentences, but of course two sentences end with a question mark. Now you can easily identify what is the first sentence here. See? What am I teaching? And the sentence begins with the question mark what. So remember, one type of interrogative sentence is the sentence that begins with the WH question mark, question word. Now you know what are all the question words that begin with the W? What, why, where, when. And similarly, beginning with the H. How many, how far, how long, how fast, how slow. So all these things you can think of. Depending upon the nature of the sentences, you can think about framing your questions. So this is one type of interrogative sentence. Now what is this one here? Are you learning types of sentences here? Now is that a WH question? No. It is a verb there. So when a verb is used to begin a sentence in English, and this is known as the yes or no type questions. Okay? So yes or no type questions. Now, when I ask you, are you learning types of sentences? Your answer could be yes, we are learning types of sentences. No, we are not learning types of sentences. So as simple as that. So remember that when we talk about interrogative sentences in English, there are two types. One is to begin with the WH questions. Another type would be beginning with the auxiliary verb, which is known as the yes or no type. Is that clear? So we move on to another type. Good. Okay, now the third type. The third type could be what is known as the imperative sentences. Imperative. Imperative sentence. Imperative sentences, actually they don't begin with the subject, begin with the noun or a pronoun, because you know what is the subject. When we studied about declarative, I said it began with the subject, and subject could be either pronoun or nouns. When we studied about interrogative sentence, it began with the WH question. Another type, it began with an auxiliary verb. But when we come to imperative sentences, remember, it begins with the verb. It begins with the verb. And again, there are two types of imperative sentences. One is known as a command. Okay? One is known as a command or giving orders. Another one is known as request. Request. So one is a command, another one is a request. And the declarative imperative sentence also will end with a full stop. Okay, it will also end with a full stop, but you must be very clear in your mind. Imperative sentence will always begin with the verb. So let me write examples. When I say stop talking, stop shouting in the class. And it is understood that you have the subject indirectly. What does it mean? You are asked to stop shouting in the class. So that is an implied way of writing imperative sentence. But does it have a subject? No. So how does this sentence begin? See, stop. Stop. So this is a verb. Stop shouting in the class. Now the same imperative style of sentences can be written also like this, beginning with don't. See? Don't shout. Don't shout in the class. Now here it can be, even in the imperative, this can be positive or in negative here. When you write don't, it could be negative in imperative style. Now all these things will become very clear when we try to change from direct to indirect when we study about direct to reported speech sentences. So for the time being, I'm just concerned, I'm just trying to help you to understand what are different types of sentences in English. Alright? Now, when you say stop shouting in the class, this is an example of an order or a command. Alright? Command. Okay? And this is also a command or order. The don't. And I said there are two types of imperative sentences. And this is a command. But when you use the word please, it is already understood that you are requesting somebody to do something. So please stop shouting in the class. Okay? Please stop shouting in the class. Now this also doesn't have any noun or a pronoun here, but it is an imperative sentence beginning with the word please. And your verb is stop here. Okay? So there are two types of imperative sentences in English. One is the command or order. Another type could be a polite way of asking somebody to fulfill our desires or to make our sayings or our desires to come to an end. Alright? So therefore, there are two types of imperative sentences. And we move on to the last one now. Now what is the fourth one here? Fourth type of a sentence is known as the exclamatory. Exclamatory sentence. Okay? The fourth type would be exclamatory sentence. And when I said, when we talk about interrogative, your mind should immediately go to the question mark. Similarly, when we talk about the exclamatory sentence, your mind should think of the exclamation mark. The exclamation mark. This should be like a statement, but then all the exclamatory sentences will end with a verb. Now what is this exclamatory sentence is all about? Exclamatory or exclamation is an expression of sudden feeling. It's an expression of sudden feeling. The feeling could be feeling of joy or feeling of sorrow, excitement. Okay, excitement. See, for example, if I write an example here, how exciting the match is, or match, how exciting the match is, or match was, whatever the tense that you can use. When a person is watching, when you are watching a match, you are overexcited, you are enthusiastic, and you say what a match it is, what an exciting match it is. So you are expressing your feeling of excitement and surprise. Therefore, it ends with an exclamation mark and then also begins with ends with the auxiliary verb. It could be sometimes main verb also. Okay? So, an exclamatory sentence is a sentence that expresses sudden feeling or surprise or excitement. And this exclamation could be easily understood by certain exclamatory words like oh, okay, alas. So there are many words you can think of. But make sure that always exclamatory sentence ends with an exclamation mark, like your interrogative sentence ends with a question mark. Is that clear? Good. Now, these are the 4 different types of sentences in English. These are the 4 types of sentences in English by which you can come to a conclusion by which you can come to a conclusion that when we look at the sentences in English, either all the sentences we read, it could be a declarative, it could be an interrogative or an imperative or an exclamatory sentence. Now all these sentences can be changed from direct to indirect. So in this video, as I told you at the beginning, let us be clear about, before we enter into the area of understanding what is direct and reported speech, let us be clear in our mind that there are 4 types of sentences in English known as declarative, interrogative, imperative and exclamative. So in the next video, let us see what are we going to do with these 4 types of sentences when we study about direct and indirect speech sentences. Okay. So this is enough for the time being in this video. Let me stop this video with this kind of thought, a kind of an introduction to learn about direct and indirect speeches, and we have learned about types of sentences here. So before I close, I would request that you continue to subscribe my channel and then inform your friends and other people to watch closely till the end, because as I told you at the beginning, this is going to be a very homely atmosphere of learning as you will be listening in the classroom how a grammar can be taught. So therefore, if you send your comments, as I told you, I can change my way of helping you to understand better in the future the grammar items that we are going to discuss. Okay, so see you guys in the next video. Please subscribe English CC Louis channel. Thank you. Bye.